Daiwa have introduced a completely new range of connoisseur rods for 2012. There's 15 rods in the range, ranging right up from a 17-20 long float rod for river work, down through the length there's a 13, 15, there's 14-foot rods, 12-foot rods, right down to this 10-11 medium feeder rod, the Connoisseur G feeder. And I'll just run you through a few features of this rod, which will highlight some of the features of the range itself. Starting at the handle end, you've got a cork duplon handle, a slightly flattened bottom end to fit nicely onto the end of your elbow here when you're playing big fish. You've got a screw lock Fuji reel seat, nice hook eye here, keeper eye. The reason it's called an 11-13 is obviously because you can vary the length of the rod yourself. If you're fishing a little bit further out, you want a little bit of extra distance of the 11-foot rod. If you're fishing closer in, you might want to remove that small section, that 1-foot section, put it to one side and just fish the rod at 10-foot. You've got some nice Fuji guides here, quality Fuji guides, going up to the top of the rod here. The rod comes as standard with 3 tips. They're all glass. One of the advantages of glass is that they're particularly soft. If you're fishing, this rod's designed for commercial fishery work really. If you're fishing in the winter or fishing a water with a lot of skimmers, a carbon tip can be a little bit stiff for that sort of work. A glass tip gives you, certainly a soft glass tip, gives you just that little bit more softness that can pick up those skimmer bites. At the end of the day, if you're a match angler, you want those skimmers in the net as well as the carp. Sometimes the carp aren't feeding, aren't they? This comes with 3 tips as standard. You've got a 3/4 ounce, a 1 ounce and a 1.5 ounce, all glass as I've said. The rods in the Connoisseur range, well, it's a famous name from Daiwa. You know, if you've been around as long as I have in journalism, you'll know the Connoisseur range well and all the quality that goes with it. You know, there are rods in the range for commercial fishery work and river work. There's a number of 11-13 models in there, which is a rod that Daiwa made famous themselves in terms of casting distance. In general, the rods are retailing around the £300 mark. The longer rods are slightly more expensive, some of the shorter rods slightly less, but it's a classic name, you know, from a top company who really knows how to make rods. Word on the street from the boys who've been fishing with this rod already is that it's got an amazing amount of power to it for such a short rod.